For a long time, the approach to growing high-value crops was, well, it was to control absolutely everything. We built sterile rooms and we waged a chemical war against nature. But that model, it's starting to show its cracks, especially at scale. So today, we're going to explore a completely different way of thinking. A new blueprint that doesn't fight nature, but works with it. And this right here, this is the heart of the whole idea. It's about getting out of that defensive crouch and instead turning the ecosystem itself into your greatest strength, your competitive edge. So what does that actually look like in practice? Let's dig in. You can think of the old way, the sterile paradigm, like trying to keep a patient inside a sterile bubble. You're trying to isolate the plant from every possible threat. But that bubble is incredibly expensive to maintain, and you know what? It's fragile. One little tear, one pest that gets through, and the whole system can come crashing down. It's just not a sustainable model for the long haul. Okay, so let's put these two philosophies side by side. On the left, you've got the old model, a constant, costly battle using chemical inputs. On the right, you have ecological engineering, where you're building a biological system that pretty much runs itself. We're talking about a fundamental shift from fragile and defensive to resilient and proactive. So how do you even start to build an ecosystem like this? Well, like any good structure, you start with the foundation. And in farming, that means starting with water. But probably not in the way you're thinking. I know it sounds a little too simple, right? A pipe. How can changing one pipe really revolutionize your whole operation? But trust me, the way you deliver water to your plants, it dictates almost everything that happens after. You see, the traditional method, surface drip, has some major flaws. By wetting the topsoil, you're basically doing two things you really don't want to do. First, you're just inviting weeds to the party, creating a perfect little nursery for them to sprout. And second, you're encouraging your plants to grow lazy, shallow roots because, hey, why would they dig deep when the water's right there at the surface? Now, subsurface drip irrigation, or SDI, it flips that whole script. By burying the irrigation lines, you put the water exactly where the plant needs it, down deep in the root zone. And the surface? It stays bone dry, which means those thousands of weed seeds just sitting in the topsoil, they never even get the signal to grow. You're not managing weeds anymore, you're designing them right out of the system. And the payoff here is huge. A 2025 study found that this one single change resulted in a 15% increase in both flower and cannabinoid yield. So this isn't just about saving water or labor. It's about growing fundamentally healthier plants with deeper, more robust root systems that can handle a lot more stress. All right, our water foundation is set. Now it's time to add the next layer. We're going to bring in a whole suite of biological tools. Plants that we don't actually harvest, but instead we use them as living machinery to build up and protect our farm. Think of it like you're assembling a team of specialists. You've got your nitrogen engines, plants like hairy vetch that literally pull fertilizer out of the air for you. You've got chemical defenders like cereal rye that poison nearby weeds. You've got soil cleaners that act like a natural fumigant, and even biodrills, radishes that physically break up hard, compacted soil. It's an entire arsenal of living tools at your disposal. So, how do those chemical defenders actually work? Well, it's this amazing scientific principle called allelopathy, and you can really just think of it as biological warfare. A plant like cereal rye isn't just blocking sunlight. Its roots are literally releasing chemicals into the soil that are toxic to the seeds of its competitors. It creates its own little no-go zone for weeds. But here's the catch. Using these tools requires real precision. Timing is absolutely everything. Take that cereal rye. If you terminate it when it's young and green, it actually releases nitrogen into the soil. Fantastic. But if you wait too long until it flowers, its chemistry flips. It becomes so high in carbon that when it decomposes, the microbes actually have to suck nitrogen out of the soil just to break it down. It's a classic trap, and it can starve your main crop. And you can really see this need for precision with something called the mustard bomb protocol. This isn't just about tilling in some mustard plants. No, it's a timed chemical reaction. You have to chop the plants at their absolute peak, immediately mix them into the soil, you've got a 20-minute window, and then you have to seal the soil with water to trap the toxic gas that kills off pathogens. It's less like farming and more like chemistry. Okay, so we've managed our water, we've outsmarted the weeds, we've even dealt with soil pathogens. Now it's time to talk about pests. And we're going to move beyond just reacting to problems and instead build our very own living, breathing security force. First things first, you have to know your enemy. And in the controlled world of a high tunnel, one group just dominates the scene.
A 2020 study found that a staggering 86% of all the arthropods in the soil are mites. That number tells you exactly where you need to focus your energy.
Now here is the paradox. To grow amazing cannabis, you want incredibly rich soil, right? Loaded with organic matter. But that same study found a ticking time bomb. For every 1% increase in organic matter, the mite population can explode by 14 times in the summer and an unbelievable 255 times in the winter. If those are bad mites, you've just built them a luxury resort.
So what do? The answer isn't to just buy a bottle of predator mites and hope for the best. The real solution is to farm your own. It's called a banker plant system. You use a plant that pest mites love, like a bush bean, to attract them. Then you introduce your predatory mites to that plant. You've just created an on-site barracks for your own private army, always ready to be deployed.
So we've looked at all the individual pieces, the water system, the cover crops, the guardian insects. Now let's put it all together and see what this blueprint actually looks like over the course of an entire year. The entire year really becomes a kind of strategic dance. We start in the fall with the reset, planting your cover crops. Then in spring, it's the charge, when you terminate those crops to load the soil with nutrients. During the main season, you transplant your cannabis and establish those banker plants. And then, and this is crucial, as you get to flowering, you make the shift, mowing the living mulch to lower humidity and prevent mold. It's a proactive system, every step of the way. And when you look at the return on this investment, it's just immense. This isn't just an environmental choice. It's a superior business decision. You're getting free fertilizer. You're pretty much eliminating weeding costs. You're building a pest control system that sustains itself. And you're giving yourself a powerful shield against crop loss. You're not just growing a crop, you're building a truly resilient and profitable system.
So it leaves us with this final thought. Maybe the next great leap forward in agriculture won't come from a new chemical developed in a lab. Maybe it will come from understanding that the greatest technology we have is the ecosystem itself, and that our job isn't to control it, but to design it.